Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another bite-sized political podcast. London has got a real problem, but it's a problem that few people in the media particularly want to talk about. And it's presided over by Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London. And it's a simple but really nasty issue: anti-Semitism. I'm afraid London has got a real anti-Semitic problem. And that's manifest, for example, in the story which has emerged today. And okay, we're doing this as a podcast, so I can't show you, but it relates to footage that was shown, has been obtained of an Orthodox Jewish man who's walking along the street. He is then punched in the face so hard that he's knocked against the wall and he collapses unconscious. Now, this is being described as a racist attack. The Jewish gentleman, a 64-year-old guy, walking in broad daylight down a street in Stamford Hill, London. 8:30 on Wednesday night it happened, a couple of nights ago. On the same night, the same evening, a Jewish child was apparently viciously punched in the face less than an hour and a half beforehand. Now, here we get to another aspect of the story as we go through it. The unidentified attacker appears to be dressed in white, wearing a headdress and a greenish-brown coat in both clips, which the police are investigating. Apparently, the police think that the neighbourhood watch group Showroom believes that detectives are linking a series of horrific, unprovoked attacks in the area. And so, yes, it's a chap wearing a white coat. And that's kind of where the media leave it. No. Let's call it straight out. If you see the footage, which I'm looking at the moment, it's a guy in traditional Muslim attire. It's as simple as that there. Please do not come at me. That's what it is. He is obviously dressed in Muslim attire. Can't quite see his face, but there's a really good camera shot of him from behind. And basically what he does, he just walks past the Jewish man, obviously recognize him because he's an Orthodox Jew, so it's obvious what he is. And he just casually punches him really hard in the head, and the guy slams into the wall, and down he goes. I believe he was taken to hospital with a broken foot and nasty head injuries. So for me, there's two issues here. There is the obvious horror of such an anti-Semitic attack. That's the first thing. And then, and this is equally horrifying to me, there's the refusal of the media to call it what it is. They're talking about it's racism. Well, no, it's not racism. It's anti-Semitism. This Muslim walking along the street punched this Jewish chap and also apparently a Jewish child in the same area. So he was actually obviously wandering around this area for whatever reason on Wednesday night of this past week, wanting to attack Jewish people. It's not anti-racism. It's anti-Semitism. If you don't call these things for what they are, then you can't deal with them. And there's a complete reluctance to call them for what they are, because it then raises the awkward question of, well, why does London have such a problem? Well, might it be anything to do with the fact, oh yeah, London has the biggest Muslim population of anywhere in the UK? Might it be linked to that? Might it be linked to the fact that some within this community harbour very, very nasty views? Very, very nasty views indeed. Not just against Jewish people, of course, but that's one of the areas that they manifest them. And if that be the case, then what are we going to do about it becomes the next question. And that then causes all kinds of further problems, because at the same time as this is happening, we're being told that when it comes to London, diversity is our strength. Well, if diversity is our strength, why is anti-Semitism accelerating at such a rate in our capital city? And the answer is, it all depends on who you're talking about, doesn't it? I mean, we don't get reports of Orthodox Jews wandering around London punching Muslims in the head. We don't get those stories, but we get an endless series of this kind of story. And then we have the media, which is so cowardly that they won't talk about it in the right terms. And instead, they'll rephrase it and recategorize it as just more racism. And then that plays into the race hustlers who will then go, yeah, racism, racism, we've got to fight racism. No. Well, of course we should fight all kinds of things that result in violence being done against to someone. But in this case, it's perfectly clear that the assailant is a Muslim. It's so obvious. And yet the media can run a whole report running to several hundred words and at no point mention the fact that at the very least he's dressed in Muslim clothes. And he gives every impression of being a Muslim gentleman. But no, media doesn't want to talk about that. It's just racism, racism, racism. Racism plays into the shills in the race baiting industry, and then the circle goes round and round, and nothing ever gets done. Nothing will be done about anti-Semitism in London until we face up to the fact that, yes, it is a problem. Yes, the Muslim community is where it comes from. And yes, then action has to be taken against that Muslim community or those within it to name and shame the actual culprits, get them put behind bars, and make sure that they understand that in the United Kingdom, you don't go around punching somebody in the head just because they are a different religion or faith to you. That's what needs to be understood.